Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt. Welcome to the New Brit Workshop and this workshop notes video number 32. Now this video was due to be done in a couple of weeks' time, but I've advanced it because the video I was due to do couldn't happen because of the non-delivery of my new leaf blower. I will say a little bit about that later in this video. And I'm going to start with this. Now you've probably seen lots of little waste paper baskets made of wood and with this sort of style where they're slightly wider at the top than they are at the bottom. And a long time ago someone asked me how you go about making these. I think I answered that person directly, but then I thought, well, maybe I should spread the word, as it were. So I'm going to show you how to make something like this, but my example is going to be quite small. And this is what I've made. It's made from some veneered MDF. It's just some stuff I happen to have lying around in the workshop, and I've made it very easily using the Capex saw. I've got no dominoes or anything holding this together, just glue. And I particularly want you to look at these joints and see how clean they are. They have not been filled, they've not been touched up in any way, all of them. And so that's a little baby waste paper basket, or you could put some, I don't know, some dried flowers in there or something. Anyway, it gives you an idea of what you can create with just a miter saw. Now, in order to demonstrate this, I've set the saw up as follows. I've got my miter angle, that's this way, set at 10 degrees here, and that's locked off. I've got my bevel angle set at 45 degrees. I've now got a piece of wood here, which I've clamped in place to keep it absolutely still, which I'm going to use as my stop in a minute, but it's got to be the right shape. So it's here, and I'm about to do a cut. And you've got to take these cuts very carefully, because with the Capex there's a large gap at the back here now, unsupported by the sacrificial fence. You can get little bits of wood moving around, so just take great care and wear eye protection. And because this is MDF, I'm wearing my powered face mask. So that's that first cut done. Now I'm going to be using this in a minute, but I'm putting it to one side for now. Now this is the stock that I'm going to use for this item, and I've got to start by making one cut at the end. I find with these angular cuts that it's actually really useful to have your stock held fairly firmly. I'm just going to make sure that this is in the right place. So I've got that held firmly, and here we go. Let the saw come to a stop before raising the blade. There's that offcut. Right, now what I'm going to do is to work out where I need to make my next cut. And I have worked it out that it needs to be about here. But you can measure this really accurately if you wish. Just going to lock that in place. Now, remember this piece we cut at the very beginning? I'm now flipping it over and I'm going to position it, and now I have an end stop for the multiple cuts that I'm about to do. And each time you cut a piece off the stock, you then flip it over, end up with pieces like this. And after you've done that cut, flip this over and put it against the end stop and do the next cut. And so you end up with multiple pieces like this. So we've now got our 4 pieces, which, if I'm careful, I can demonstrate they should go together something like this, like so. But actually, it's an almost impossible thing to clamp up. Well, I say almost impossible, it's not. Because we're going to use that technique which you would have seen me use before, whereby we bring things together using masking tape. And this is a perfect example of the masking tape solution. Now, ordinarily when we've been making drawers where all the pieces are in a straight line because they're 90-degree cuts, we've used a straight edge. Well, we don't have that luxury this time, so what you've got to do, you've got to use your eye and absolutely get these pieces in the best position that you can. And then put some tape across. So it's exactly the same technique that we've seen before when we were making drawers. Now, obviously, my pieces of wood are just some bucksheet pieces I've had in the workshop, and I haven't bothered to do anything about sanding this, making it the right colour or anything like that. This is just a demonstration. So there's my 4 pieces joined together. Now you've got to very carefully flip this over without compromising the way that that masking tape has been stuck on. Now I'm going to apply some glue. Right, that's that. Now I've got to bring this together. Across here. That is it. Now, glued up, and all I've got to do is leave that. Now with this demonstration one, I didn't worry about the mitre angle at the bottom here or at the top. I'm really not worried. So it's now time to take the masking tape off this. And there we have that finished shape. Now technically I now need to make these bits flat. Now by using the technique that I did of flipping the piece of wood to make these particular sections, I could not have cut the angle needed on these sides first, because the angle needed at this end is different from the angle at that end. Now I can cut a piece that will fit snugly down into here to form a base on the inside. I can do that quite simply by resetting the capex so that it's now, in mitre terms, cutting at 90 degrees, but in the bevel terms it's cutting at the 10 degrees. Imagine before we had the mitre at 10. So this time I've got the bevel cut at 10, and I'm going to cut a piece which will be just the right size to go in there. So there's my piece. Let's have a look. I've deliberately cut this on the small side so that when it's glued in there, it will lift this up, producing a shadow line. Until it's glued in, it won't be very easy to see, but there'll be a shadow line all the way around there. And here's the finished item, and it is really nifto neato. I put a tiny bit of Osmo on there just to make it look reasonable. And really this is all thanks to the accuracy of the capex from Festool. It's a super duper saw, and I use it every single day, and I've had it for years. One of my first Festool purchases. Absolutely brilliant. Now this one's been finished using a process called decoupage, which basically is sticking paper on the outside, usually with some sort of varnish, so that it stays stuck and it's reasonably robust once it's there. And you could do the same with one that you make, and I've seen decoupage done with ordinary newspapers, and it is can be a stunning effect. Now, right now I'm making some kits for the grandchildren, or 2 of the grandchildren, which will be part of their Christmas present. They're kits to build little bird boxes, and I've partly assembled one element, which is the roof. It's got a piece here stuck onto the 2 roof pieces, because I found the roof was quite a tricky thing for a young person to do. But the rest of it they'll assemble themselves using screws under Daddy's supervision. I'm going to lend each of them a clamp. Now, if any of you grandchildren are watching, I want my clamps back, okay? And one feature I put in all of my bird boxes is a little metal ring. If I take this out, right, is this metal ring. And this is a big washer. I painted it with some gold paint, and I've made a recess here, which is perfect for that washer. And this stops any nasty birds trying to peck their way through and make this hole into the bird box bigger, so that the big nasty birds can't get in there and eat all the little baby chicks. And that's an important feature. So there we go, aren't they lucky? So once these bird boxes are finished, it'll be a bit like staying at the Savoy Hotel. Now, my wife and I have been to the Savoy for wedding reception, and all these sort of Rolls Royces and Bentleys were being sort of ushered in, and the keys were handed over, and someone went and parked the thing. And we drove in there with a Toyota Yaris. But anyway, we drove in there. They said, "Would you park this for us, please?" They could have put it in the boot of one of the Rolls Royces, couldn't they? Now, I did tell you I'd mention my leaf blower. I ordered one online, and then a few days later they said, "Sorry, we're out of stock. Everyone's out of stock." And so I had to stop making the video. I'd done lots of preparatory work, but that video will come shortly, hopefully very soon. But I saw some of the clips that I probably won't show in the video, which I thought might just give you a bit of a laugh. So here is my process of assessing the weight of a particular backpack leaf blower that I want to get. Now, there were two models I looked at. One was the BR200, which is the lightest in the range. It's just about 6 kilos. And then there's the BR350. It weighs quite a bit more. It's 10.3 kilos, I think, if I remember rightly. But I had to check the weight. So, don't laugh. I got my backpack, and this is a case of a dozen bottles of rather nice beer that I'm saving for Christmas. I weighed one bottle, and it works out that 11 of these bottles weighs the same as the BR350. So I'm going to put 11 of these into my backpack and see how it feels. To start with, it feels fairly heavy, which surprised me. I thought 10 and a bit kilos wouldn't be too bad. Okay, so once I've got it on my back, it's fine. Perfectly comfortable, nice, reasonably wide straps. But this has got to last me really until I have to give up gardening. And I wonder if in 5 or 10 years' time, I'm going to be happy with 10 and a bit kilos on my back. So I think the BR200 is the right model. And that's the one I've ordered. I'm just waiting for it to be delivered. Well, that's the end of this workshop notes video. Many thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.